And I'll start with you, Mr. Baldacci. Do you have any suspicion that some of your works have been used to train AI systems?
I've been told, and I've been shown a database, and it's part of I'm part of a class action lawsuit against the AI community, and I think they've conceded that they've taken at least 44 of my novels and fed them into their large language models.
I mean, that's astonishing. Literally, you've got 44.
Well, at least they didn't take them all, so that was nice.
Just wait.
I know.
And so you don't know for sure, and the only way you're going to find out is hopefully through this class action litigation that you're part of.
Well, I certainly learned that when my son put in ChatGPT, that ChatGPT was intimately familiar with my entire body of work because it was able to throw out, plot lines that took from many of my novels. So someone had to feed my novels into ChatGPT, otherwise it could not have created that response.
We just can't allow that.
The explosive rise of artificial intelligence has brought new opportunities, but also new dangers for creators. In a recent Senate hearing, lawmakers, authors, and musicians confronted one of the most pressing issues of our time, whether AI companies are unfairly exploiting copyrighted works to build their powerful models. With best-selling author David Baldacci and industry leaders testifying, the conversation highlighted the stakes for established artists, aspiring creators, and the very future of American culture.
Senator Blackburn and I have a bill which is called the TRAIN Act, and it's trying to address this question of artistic content being used. And, we've got a celebrated author here, and it would protect you, but what I appreciate about you being here, Mr. Baldacci, is there's a lot of folks who are aspiring to be David Baldacci. There's a lot of artists aspiring to be a Taylor Swift, and it's the folks who've made it that are in a position to advocate. And it's not, I don't think, going to benefit you, but it's going to benefit artists who have so much to contribute, even though they're not yet discovered. And, this is the reality. This is where I think the chairman is really right. The AI companies need content, so they don't care where it comes from. It's just a voracious, insatiable appetite. And they're going to go into copyrighted material. And we just know that, and to suggest they won't, I think, is naive. And the question and the burden here is that is going into copyrighted material, and the artist has the right to have that copyright respected. The burden is that how do you know they used it? That's the whole point of the TRAIN Act, where if there is copyright infringement, a reasonable assertion of that and suspicion of it is going to require disclosure on the part of the AI platform. So I wanted to ask a little bit about that. And I'll start with you, Mr. Baldacci. Do you have any suspicion that some of your works have been used to train AI systems?
I've been told, and I've been shown a database, and it's part of I'm part of a class action lawsuit against the AI community, and I think they've conceded that they've taken at least 44 of my novels and fed them into their large language models.
I mean, that's astonishing. Literally, you've got 44.
Well, at least they didn't take them all, so that was nice.
Just wait.
I know.
And so you don't know for sure, and the only way you're going to find out is hopefully through this class action litigation that you're part of.
Well, I certainly learned that when my son put in ChatGPT, that ChatGPT was intimately familiar with my entire body of work because it was able to throw out, plot lines that took from many of my novels. So someone had to feed my novels into ChatGPT, otherwise it could not have created that response.
We just can't allow that. That's just really wrong. Thank you. So we're in agreement here that we need some reforms here to protect the artist. Mr. Smith, music, it's the same situation. And, our music industry is so important. It's not, using the word industry is wrong. Music is so important. It really helps people get a sense of who they are. It helps people connect. And it's across political divisions. That's what's one of the inspiring things about the incredible contributions that musicians provide to our society. And Can you just explain what the dangers are of allowing AI models to freely train off copyrighted works?
Sure, there are multiple dangers. What we've seen in the early piracy research is that Article 1, Section 8, Clause 8 is actually a really good idea. Giving artists incentives to create actually yields more creation, and when artists' incomes are lowered through piracy, they have lower incentives to create. I think we see the same thing here, both directly by participating in these pirated networks. The generative AI companies are making it easier for other people to steal. But then indirectly, they're also making it harder for licenses to be signed. Mr. Baldacci talks about signing licenses, but when you sign a license with a generative AI company, you're signing with a gun held to your head, because they can say, either sign what I'm offering, or I'm going to go steal it instead.
Well,
that's trouble.
That's the adhesion contract that good lawyers like Senator Hawley still remember from law school days. No, but explain that a little bit more, because, this is where I think all of us have some real appreciation for young artists. They have a vision that there is something inside them that they can express, and that it will make a difference to people who hear it or people who read it. And they start out against their parents' will most of the time, right? Because it's not an income-producing, promising career. And a lot of them don't succeed commercial success, but they actually are contributing in a local community to a sense that helps develop our culture and helps create respect for the creative process, and helps create respect that there's other things than the career path that some of us up here have followed, where you can make a real contribution and a meaningful contribution. So this is the concern I have about how this AI and grabbing it is going to make it tougher for those folks against great odds to keep at it. So maybe you could just, from your experience, talk a little bit about how it would adversely impact any chance they have of being able to pay their bills at the end of the month while they're trying to create inspirational music for the benefit of all of us.
Yeah, I deeply share that concern, Senator, and it's based on peer-reviewed academic research showing that creative output goes down when piracy is allowed to flourish. I worry that the future David Baldaccis of the world won't get through that hump, and we won't get to appreciate their creative output if we allow piracy to continue to be used to train these generative AI models.
Well, thank you. My time is just about up, but I just want to express my gratitude to each of the witnesses. I didn't have a chance to speak with you, but I think this is an extraordinarily important issue.
The hearing focused on the TRAIN Act, a bipartisan bill introduced by Senator Blackburn and her colleague aimed at addressing how AI platforms access and use copyrighted works. The legislation would require disclosure from AI companies when there is reasonable suspicion that they have used protected material in training their systems. This shift would help level the playing field by forcing AI developers to account for their practices rather than leaving artists powerless and in the dark. The celebrated novelist David Baldacci shared his own experience with suspected AI use of his works. He revealed that a database, now central to an ongoing class action lawsuit, showed at least 44 of his novels had been ingested by large language models. Even more telling was his personal experiment. When his son asked ChatGPT about Baldacci's novels, it produced detailed plot lines and story elements, strongly suggesting that his books had been used for training. Baldacci's conclusion was straightforward. Someone had to feed my novels into ChatGPT, otherwise it could not have created that response. The implications are staggering. If a best-selling author's works can be taken wholesale without permission, what hope do aspiring writers have of protecting their creative output? Witnesses representing musicians echoed similar concerns. Music has long faced challenges from piracy, and they warned that AI threatens to repeat and even worsen those harms. One expert explained that research consistently shows piracy lowers creative output. When artists earn less, fewer works get made. AI companies not only reduce incentives by using music without permission, but also distort the licensing market itself. Artists are pressured to accept unfavorable terms under threat of outright infringement, sign with a gun held to your head, as it was described. The senators emphasized that music is more than an industry. It is a universal language that crosses political divides and shapes communities. If AI undermines the financial stability of musicians, society risks losing the cultural richness that comes from diverse and independent voices. A recurring theme throughout the discussion was the impact on younger, undiscovered artists. Senators highlighted the immense personal risk that creators take when pursuing art, often against their family's advice, with little financial security and no guarantee of success. While some, like Baldacci or Taylor Swift, achieve widespread recognition, countless others contribute meaningfully to their local communities, shaping culture in ways that extend beyond commercial success. Without safeguards, the rise of AI threatens to make an already difficult path nearly impossible. If aspiring artists cannot sustain themselves because their works are exploited without compensation, many will give up before they reach their full potential. The hearing underscored that protecting intellectual property is not just about economics, it is about ensuring future generations of creativity. At its heart, this conversation reflects a fundamental tension between technological progress and human creativity. AI companies argue that massive data sets are essential for innovation, but artists, authors, and musicians counter that this cannot come at the expense of the very people who produce the content AI relies upon. The hearing made clear that bipartisan consensus is forming around the need for reform. Whether through disclosure requirements like those in the TRAIN Act, licensing reforms, or stronger enforcement, lawmakers are signaling that unchecked use of copyrighted material will not be tolerated. The stakes extend beyond individual careers. They touch on cultural identity, the value of originality, and the future of intellectual property in an AI-driven world. The outcome of this debate may well determine whether AI becomes a partner to creativity or its greatest threat. The Senate hearing revealed growing momentum for reining in AI's unchecked use of copyrighted works. With testimony from authors like David Baldacci and representatives of the music industry, the message was clear: innovation cannot be built on exploitation. The TRAIN Act and related efforts aim to restore balance, protect artists, and ensure that future generations still see a path in pursuing their creative dreams. The fight over AI and copyright is not just about protecting profits, it's about protecting culture itself.